On June 25th, 2022, the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act was signed into law following the Robb Elementary School tragedy in my hometown of Uvalde, Texas. Now, part of this bill sets aside billions of dollars to make American schools safer. The problem is, not enough school districts that need these grants know how to apply for them. And for those that do, it is a complex and expensive process. But now, we have a solution.
Matthew McConaughey announcing the new Green Lights Grant Initiative he founded with his wife Camilla to help schools access federal grant money for safety and security. I sat down with him for a wide-ranging interview about schools, guns, and American politics. We began the conversation with what sparked his school safety initiative, the massacre last year at Robb Elementary School in his hometown of Uvalde, Texas. I remember watching you at the White House. I've seen a lot of celebrities come to the White House on various causes, but I have never seen somebody do quite what you did when you stood at that podium just after the massacre at Robb Elementary and spoke from the heart.
Maite wore green high-top Converse with a heart she had hand-drawn on the right toe because they represented her love of nature. Camilla's got these shoes. Wore these every day. Green Converse with a heart on the right toe. These are the same green Converse on her feet that turned out to be the only clear evidence that could identify her after the shooting. How about that?
I mean, this was something that obviously hit you really hard, hit all of us hard, but really hit you.
Yeah, it did. You know, it happened in my hometown. My wife was out of the country. She hears about the news, immediately writes me and says, we got to go down there. She cut her trip short, flew in, we packed up and headed out. And we had, we got chaperoned around to the right places. Congressman Tony Gonzalez was already on the ground there and helped us go to the right places. We met many of the families. The families started to invite us into places and hardships that they were going through. They were inviting us in. We had families invite us in to come for the first viewing of their child.
Oh my God.
And that, to us, felt like we were trespassing, but the mother and father going, no, please come in. So all of a sudden, we were down there, and then Camilla got really close and ingrained with quite a few of the families and the mothers in particular. And when we left there, the consensus was, can you help make their lives matter?
Yeah.
So that led to us ending up in D.C. And then the president asked me if I would speak at a press conference there, and I sure as hell wasn't going to say no to that.
That was over a year ago.
Yes.
I remember what you said. You said that there's a window to get something done.
Right.
And something was done, a bipartisan bill.
32 days later.
Yep. But now we're over a year past
Yep.
that, and you're trying to make sure that that's actually working.
Right. What I'm trying to do, my wife and I have started this Green Lights Grant Initiative it's a follow through. All right, the first bill was passed to safety in schools in 30 years. Yeah. That's the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act.
Yeah.
It's got all these grants that can help secure schools physically. It's also for mental health counseling for the kids in these schools. It's the first time it's happened. Yeah. Bipartisan, it's come together, it's there. And it's already working in some ways, but there's billions of dollars that are still left to be spent.
I mean, it's follow through you don't often see. Because this passed over a year ago.
Yes.
And billions of dollars for school safety, great, that's awesome. And then you find out, you come along now, a year later, and the money hasn't gone out yet.
Well,
most of it hasn't.
Look, let me give you some numbers here. Congressman Gonzalez comes to me about 3 months after Uvalde and says, Matthew, Camilla, 119 schools, 112 applications, 0 awards. What are we doing? That math does not add. That's a 0 success rate. One, way too few applications. Number two, the 12 applications, we went 0 for 12.
Yeah. In
the districts right there where Uvalde just happened. So that's when Camilla and I started researching the country and going, I doubt this is just a problem down in South Texas. We know it's just a problem all over America. You got 14,000 something schools. This grant initiative, the Green Lights Grant Initiative, is going to connect those districts to those billions of dollars. That's there, available, and wants to be used to make our kids safe.
It suggests there's something wrong with the system if you pass
And they
this,
admit
it's
it,
not-
though. The government admits that it shouldn't be this complicated.
You said something else at the White House. You said that the middle ground is where most Americans are on this issue, the guns issue. I think you're right, but I've also been following the gun issue for years, after tragedy after tragedy, and nothing gets done on the gun side of it. So as part of the issue, the way it's framed, because it does freak out a lot of people that consider themselves strong Second Amendment.
Sure.
They think any measure is a measure towards confiscating all guns. So how do you speak to those people? I think that's kind of what you were doing at the White House.
One of the things, it was just one word.
Yeah.
I went in there and flipped, seemed to get those hard Second Amendment defenders' ears to at least listen. And that was, I changed the word from control to responsibility.
Right, they hate gun control.
Well, control sounds like a mandate. And nobody wants to mandate. No one wants to be controlled. But responsibility is still something that we can all go, yeah, I'll take responsibility. And a lot of the far right or the Republicans, they almost feel like responsibility is a value that they have ownership of. And it's a sense of almost pride and honor to be responsible. So when the narrative got changed and the questions and started calling it gun responsibility, a lot more conversations I even noticed in the few days that we were there were able to be had from both sides, because the Second Amendment defenders could talk responsibility. They could look you in the eye and talk responsibility with someone from the other side of the aisle.
I mean, some of the issues that you specifically have talked about: universal background checks, raising the age for purchasing of assault rifles, national red flag laws, a longer waiting period for assault weapons.
Yeah.
These are positions that have widespread approval among the American public.
80-something%, right?
I mean, if you look, there's a Fox News poll just earlier this year. Universal background checks, 87%. Allowing police to take away guns from people who have been shown to be a threat, 80%. Raising the minimum wage, 81%. Waiting period, 70%. I mean, it's very rare you see any political issues with that much agreement, and yet none of those things have been done.
It's a interesting stat about the populace. Almost near unanimous. I mean, the populist vote is there, and how do the sides and the contingencies have? They're bunkered into their sides on this, and I don't know how the law works, but that was a question I had. Well, wait, can there be a populist vote on this, an uprising that says, look, you're not representing the masses. The law is not representing the masses. That math, you may know more about this than I do, that math should add up, and right now it doesn't.
Do you have advice to particularly Democrats on this issue, who the minute they speak about gun control, I mean, you mentioned one thing, get rid of the word gun control.
Right.
But even without that, do you have any advice on how they can speak?
Quit patronizing. There's a whole lot of Americans that need you to at least meet them where they are and what they're understanding and how they've grown up on this issue with guns in their lives, and how most of them do handle them responsibly. So don't cast them down as being archaic or cavemen and women, and how could you? No. Listen to them for a minute. And when you're coming in hot, which sometimes the left does, on this issue and many others.
Sometimes,
okay? And is immediately saying, you idiot, you dumbass, what? How foolish. You've lost them. You've lost them. They get more defensive. All right, so come in and meet them where they are, and try to hear where they're coming from first, and understand that they have a viable stance, a viable position they're taking that they didn't just come up with last night.
I've heard you say that we're not as deeply divided as we're told we are.
No.
Really?
Look at the percentages we just talked about. 86%. No, but the two on the, I was talking with my wife about this yesterday. It's human nature. You don't slow down to 35 miles an hour on the interstate because everyone's looking at the daisies in the rainbow in the field to the right. No, you slow down to 35 on the interstate going northbound because everyone's slowing down to look at the car wreck on the southbound traffic on the other side. We love the wreck. We love it's entertainment. We don't put our finger on we don't love to watch health as much as we like to watch disease. These two extremes have the microphone.
Yeah.
It's more entertaining. Trump's been great at selling fear. Fear sells more than hope.
Could you see yourself running for something?
Could I see? It's more of a larger question for me of is politics the category where I can be the most useful?
Or can you do more outside, like what you're doing here?
There's a great question that I'm still answering. And as of right now, to be a private citizen with my wife and to come up with an idea like the Green Lights Grant Initiative to work with the government publicly to help them, not doing their job for them, helping them pull off what they set out to do in the first place.
Yeah.
There is argument that it could be more useful than what I'm doing right now in a small way. But
to do the kind of big change.
Yeah, well, to do the big change, right? I mean, I'd have to be convinced that that's a category that could be quite useful in. And it's something that I think about all the time.
You do?
Yeah, starting as the man I am, as a concerned father, as a husband, as a person who believes in people, as a Texan, as an American who's like, man, come on, I believe in us.
A refreshing perspective. Thank you, Matthew McConaughey.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.